Yeah, that ain't got nit on the...
All right. Yeah, it's time.
It's the moment.
It's the moment.
All right, here we go.
You got to get in it.
Here we go, here we go. Mark.
No shifty.
No shifty.
Okay, so today on F-Body Garage, your host, me, is an idiot, and even though I'm borderline OCD, I have somehow lost the SD card that has all the footage on it of us finishing Ben's car this week. So I'm not really sure what to do. And the thing that sucks is that the video is done. Like I finished the video in Premiere, but the problem is that in order to export the video from Premiere, it has to see the location of the footage, and that location is unknown right now. So I think the only thing I can really do is just go over the car, show you what we did do, and I just, I hate doing it that way, obviously, because that's what most channels do, is show you what they did after the fact, and you can't see all the things that they screwed up, the mistakes they made along the way, so that you can learn from them and not do them, which is the whole point of the channel. Show you everything so that you don't do the same stupid things that I do, and you can see the successes and failures and all that. So yeah, I think what I'll do is, normally I post on Friday. Today is Saturday. I want to give you guys something, so I'm going to go ahead and go over everything and show you that, and then I'll continue looking for the card, and then when I find it, I'll post that. So here we go. All right, let's pop the hood on this thing. All right, in the last video, I think we were still working on the wiring. So as you can see, we got the computer back in. We have the current performance wiring harness hooked up to the stock ECU. Obviously, it's also hooked up to the Holley EFI. Holley EFI, we called up Holley and we asked them if there was a integration harness company they recommend, and they suggested Current Performance. That's why we bought this one. Basically, it hooks up in a similar place. So you end up running the Current Performance harness and the Holley harness together. So they both run, in the same routing. The Current Performance harness has piggyback connectors on it. So basically what ends up happening is that you plug the current performance harness connector into whatever the sensor is that you're connecting to. And then there's another connector that comes off the wiring harness right behind that connector that you connect the Holley EFI to. And what it does is it gives you the choice of either, you know, if you want to use the gauges inside the car, you can hook it up for the gauges inside the car, or you can hook it up to Holley EFI. You know, so it depends on what you end up wanting to use. If you're not going to use one of the screens or one of the dashes, then, you know, it gives you the flexibility. You can either use Holley EFI for the dash, or you can use current performance for the gauges inside. So anyway, instead of having to splice into the original OEM harness connectors, the current performance wiring harness comes with connectors to connect to the stock OEM connectors. So it connects in there, and then you route it back. That part of it is plug and play. It's really not that complicated. The bare wires from Holley EFI and from current performance, most of those wires hook to either straight to the battery or to ignition hot. So it tells you in the instructions. Again, it's really, you know, not that complicated to figure out. One of the cool things about the current performance wiring harness is that it does come with a pink connector in the bare wire section that is an ignition hot wire lead that you can use to power things up. So the ignition hot leads from the Holley EFI harness, you can run to that, and it will, you know, give power when you turn the ignition on, obviously, to those. So it kind of simplifies things. You know, you don't have to go digging. You don't have to like make a lead, go through fuse box, or however you do it. What else? All of the connectors from current performance all have, just like the Holley EFI, they have tabs on them that tell you what they go to. So again, that part of it's plug and play. What else did we do? In the last video, we put transmission cooler on. What else did we do different? That's really it. I mean, that part of, like the top part, connecting to the motor is really simple. I mean, you have, you know, the booklet that explains everything in depth and shows you each wire individually, so you know what it goes to, and it tells you, it explains, there's like a paragraph that explains what it goes to as well. It's not, it doesn't just say like IAC, you know. If you don't know what an idle air control valve is, then you have to go look it up. It tells you. Yeah, I guess, okay, so let's pick this thing up in the air. And when we pick this up in the air, you're gonna see something else I have to explain. Okay, so here's the thing I have to explain. You may be saying, hey, in the last video, there was a transmission there. Where is the transmission? Well, I will explain that to you. Let me get a seat. Let me, I feel like I need to sit down for this. So, we got the engine running. We went through, we called Holley EFI and just, you know, had them walk through everything with us on startup so that we had all the information, you know, possible for you when we're making the video, which hopefully you will eventually see. Got it all running, called Jeff from Jeff's Tuning and Performance and sent him the, you know, the base tune, and then he sent me back a revised and hooked it up, went for a ride, went into first gear, beautiful, went into second gear and sounded like the bottom of the transmission was gonna fall out. So we pulled over, turned it off, turned it back on, went into first gear, drove it back to the shop at 5 miles an hour in first gear, picked it up in the air, you know, checked the drive shaft, checked, you know, all the connections and everything looked good. Dropped the fluid, and unfortunately, the fluid was full of metal. So, yeah, that sucked. So now the transmission's out of it, and it's back at RPM. Now, let me say that I've been in this industry since I was born. My grandfather, you know, had shops. I've seen a lot of transmissions, and the reality is when you pay high dollar for a, you know, racing transmission, or even for a remanufactured transmission or a new transmission, it's still built by a human being, builder, you know, that can make mistakes. You have hundreds of parts in there. The majority of them are touch. Yeah, when you put stuff together, you know, I mean, I've seen new transmissions come back with pinch seals, and like it is what it is, you know. Some parts you put in a brand new solenoid and it's defective from the beginning. Like it happens. So the most important thing is not like I get the transmission, it's perfect. The most important thing is, if there's an issue, how are you going to deal with it? You know, how is the person you bought it from going to deal with it? And I have to say that, you know, we called up RPM, explained what happened. His response was, sounds like something, you know, there's metal in the fluid. It sounds like something's wrong internally, obviously. I'm going to send you a bill of lading and we'll pick the transmission up. When it gets to us, we'll expedite it. You know, we'll get on it right away and figure out what happened for you. That's the kind of stuff you want to hear. You know, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that conversation could have went. I've heard a lot of those conversations. We deal with remanufacturers all the time, and most of them suck. Most of them want to blame it on you. They want to blame it on the installer, you know. These guys, they picked it up the same day. They sent us a bill of lading, and it got picked up by the carrier. So first of all, if they send us a bill of lading, that means they're paying for the shipping back to them, right? So they make that part easy. The other thing was that, you know, like I said, their carrier came and picked it up that day. So it's already, you know, on the way back to them. In fact, by now it probably is to them. Yeah. So far their customer service has been outstanding. You know, no complaints there. So hopefully, you know, get it back to them. They'll figure out what it is, fix it, send it back to us. We'll stick it back in. Okay. Enough of that. What's next? So what else did we do? I mean, sadly, the majority of this stuff is labor, you know, like most of the stuff that we finished was just putting the thing back together. So it's not really like crazy exciting, you know. I mean, we got the prochargers back in. What else? As far as we'll go over the wiring, right? So what did we learn? With the Holley EFI, you do not need, oh, wow, the lighting sucks there. Let me fix that. All right, so with the Holley EFI, you do not need oxygen sensors. So it just runs off of the wideband. So you just, you know, they have a wideband connector that you connect your wideband to, well, their wideband. So that's really simple. The transmission harness wires. So you have the main connector, and then you have a speed sensor and a vehicle speed sensor connector. Vehicle speed sensor is the one that's on the back. The current performance wiring, yeah, let me grab this other connector and show it to you. So there's different versions of this thing, different years. Current performance comes with this connector that actually it's a swap connector. So what it'll do is this green and purple wire, when you connect it to the other harness, it will basically swap it. So that way you have, you know, both, depending on, you know, what version you have a connector for both. So basically, if you turn the thing on and go to run, it won't come out of first gear, then take that connector off. What else? Unfortunately, you know, not too exciting. I mean, we can't drive the thing, so that really sucks, because that's the fun part. I do have some video left over of us driving it, I believe, so I'll throw that in here as well. And yeah, we'll try to get you a video to watch today. I wish I had more. I apologize. Like I said, I'm an idiot. I am borderline OCD. I mean, one thing, you know, one good thing about being OCD is that normally you know, you don't lose stuff. You don't normally lose stuff. But I did. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this stuff together, and then I'll take the footage that I do have that's on another card and put that on here, make a video, and then we will, when I find the other card, I'll, you know, put that video out as well. But yeah.
Yeah, that ain't got nit on
All right. Yeah, it's time.
the moment.
It's the moment.
All right, here we go.
You got to get in it.
Here we go, here we go. Whoa, now. Mark. It's on, right?
Yeah, it's on.
No.
No shifty.
No shifty.
Oh, he's getting dirty. I like it. It's the first time I've been happy all day. Whew.
So that wire that plugs in the back is it?
Oh,
what?
now this is flipped, so it's on this side. I'm used to the car turning the other way.
You're just going to unplug current performance and plug in.
No, so there's a pig. Here, I'll show you, dude. Let me get all this shit out first.
Yeah.
See how they're swapped?
Yeah, why are they swapped?
That's what
so
this
you
is for.
use this. And
This swaps them, right.
All right, so now you're saying it's going to shift?
I mean, it should. This is swapping wires right now. They're literally backwards.
I was wondering why there's a...
But current performance says to install this and then drive it and see, and if it doesn't shift, then take it out. So
That's weird.
round 2. Let's try again.
Speedometer works.
Well, that's a good sign. There we go.
Well, there's...
Second.
We got one shift. Did you hear that?
That shit bouncing around back there?
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
These are real close, by the way. They have bars.
Oh, good. Oh my God, this road is awesome.
Fuck yeah. Oh, man. That shifts.
Yeah. Get used to hard shifts too, because that's your life from now on.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we just did it. We just went through all 4.
Yes, sir.
That's quattro. Oh, shit. You go right?
Yeah. All right, so unfortunately, that's all the footage I have. If you listen towards the end of the video, around a little after 17 minutes in, Ben says, "Did you hear that?" And if you listen, you can hear rumbling. And we thought we ran over something, but it wasn't. It was a transmission. And then at the end of the video, right where it ends, you hear rumbling like 2 seconds before the video ends. So we just shut it down right then, turned the camera off, pulled over, looked under the car, there was nothing there, and put it in first, drove it at like 5 miles an hour, so we didn't rev it up too high and hurt it, and just limped it back to the shop, picked it up, dropped the fluid, transmission fluid coming out, or metal in the fluid. Anyway, so RPM's been really good. I'm not really too worried about it. I think, they're going to take care of it. But, that's all I got right now, unfortunately, until we get the transmission back. So this is where we got to end it. And hopefully I find that SD card, and then I can put out the video that I already made. But till next time.